Thank you, Stephanie. I am honored to be able to introduce Theresa, not only because I am the current poster child for unexpected career changes, but because I couldn't be happier that Metro United Way decided to offer her this position and that she agreed to accept it. You know, when you know Louisville well enough, I've been here now 22 years, you start to learn that finding the right kind of leaders for the right kind of city we are right now requires a couple of things. It takes someone who actually reflects what's already great about Louisville and is able to fit in and express those qualities. But we're also at a turning point, and it takes someone who's willing and able to push us forward in the areas where we aren't yet doing well enough. And what I'm so excited about Theresa is she has both of those qualities. She and Ben brought to Louisville, I should actually say, for those of you who don't know, I did agree that I would just go through her resume very quickly, but that's not my point. But if you don't know, it's impressive enough on its own. Theresa, who grew up in Connecticut, is a graduate of the Coast Guard Academy, who then served as a lieutenant in the Coast Guard, served in the Persian Gulf, then got her master's in public policy at the Harvard's Kennedy School, then worked at McKinsey and Company, then moved to Louisville, where Mayor Greg Fisher, we're very lucky that he was able to recruit her to become the director of performance improvement and technology, where she oversaw all HR, all performance improvement, and all technology for the most quantified medium-sized city in America. In that process, she came here because she had married Ben Reno-Weber, who she met at Harvard. And Ben, if you don't know him, is the best way I can describe him is if you took Fozzie Bear and you inserted into Fozzie Bear the brain of Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel Prize-winning social behavioral theorist. And that gets the unusual and amazing combination of Ben. And we can thank Ben for not only devoting himself to the community, but recruiting Theresa in the process. But let me talk about how Theresa already reflects what's great about Louisville. She and Ben are amazing hosts in a city that in many ways is defined by the degree and depth of its own hospitality. Even while raising 3 young children and having what to most people would be more than full-time jobs, for each of them, they're able to gather people in their homes to celebrate and show gratitude and create a sense of community that already gives a lot more than it receives. And in a city that's famously good for raising a family, Ben and Theresa are great parents, which is also an amazing feat given the range of other accomplishments that they're devoted to. And I think that's the work that in part I see in Theresa has led her to understand that the opportunities that they have made available to Paul and Sophia and Ava, sorry Ava, I knew I'd get it, are not available to everybody's children in Jefferson County or in our region. Which leads me to the reasons why I'm excited that Theresa is the right person for Metro United Way to push us forward, because there are areas we do need to be doing better. If you ever got a chance to work with Theresa when she was working with Mayor Fisher, you know that she is not just a relentless seeker of performance improvement, she is a cheerfully relentless seeker of performance improvement, because you can do a lot more with that carrot than you can with a stick. And if you've gotten to see her, she knows how she inspires people to do better, and not just by telling them, by showing them how. And that's something that we could use a lot more of right now. And I want to talk about, finally, why I'm excited about her in this role right now. It's because it's something you get to know if you know Theresa for not very long. She's kind of fascinated with herself, not because she is an egotist or self-interested, because I think she knows that it's a really interesting story why a young girl named Theresa Grano, growing up in Connecticut, somehow had a spark lit in her life, a random comment, an accidental event that made her realize that she could do something like go to the Coast Guard Academy, that she could become a lieutenant in our U.S. Armed Services and show leadership in that way, that she could go to Harvard, that she could become a leader in Louisville. And as I said, that's not because she's interested in herself, it's because she's passionate about how to figure out how to find more Theresa Granos and how to find the way to light the spark in their lives that will show them all the opportunities that they can take advantage of in this great country. And because sometimes people who succeed think that other people should be just like them, I want to say one other thing that makes Theresa great in the way she understands why she is actually, in some ways, an anomaly. Because she understands that there are also people who don't have the capacity to recognize that opportunity at all times. Because of timing, because of imagination, because of history, because of circumstance, some of those people just won't be able to see that brass ring or grab it even if it were presented to them. And the reason I'm so happy that she's combining all of these skills with Metro United Way is she recognizes that as we try to improve our performance and lift up everybody in the city, there are going to be people that a humane city, like a humane family, understands we just have to support. And because all that network of creating opportunity where opportunity can be taken advantage of, but a powerful, loving support for everyone in our community is the only way that ultimately we're going to be able to treat our neighbors as ourselves. So Theresa, as you know, I believe is an amazing combination of heart and head. And now we all want to hear from her what she wants to do. She's almost at her 100th day anniversary, I just heard. So I'm really excited to hear how she's going to put those gifts to work for us.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for that wonderful set of remarks. You're not supposed to make me cry before I get up here, but when you started talking about my family and my background, it really did touch something, and I thank you for that. Good afternoon, distinguished Tocqueville Society and our honored guests. And I want to take a quick moment to offer a specific welcome and thank you to our 2017 campaign chair, Matt Thornton, who I am so grateful to share my inaugural year with for so many reasons, but there will be more about that a little bit later. To my predecessor, who I saw sneak in the back there, Joe Tolan and his beautiful wife, Terry. Our board chair, Chris Herman, my husband, Ben, my mother-in-law, Maddie Reno, and to Glenview Trust and BKD for their generous sponsorship of this lunch so that we could all be here today celebrating this time and this meal with one another. And happy Passover to any of you who may be celebrating Passover as well. My first 4 months as president and CEO of Metro United Way have been a whirlwind of excitement. And as Stephen alluded to, tomorrow is actually my 100th day on the job. And so just one day shy of that, I am truly honored to be able to be here in front of all of you today to share my vision for the future of Metro United Way and the communities that we serve. 100 is such a powerful number. I think about if it's your 100th day, your 100th year, 100%, that number really triggers the imagination. And it kind of begs a moment of reflection and a moment of celebration. And in the last 100 years of Metro United Way, there is so much to celebrate. From our beginning as the Louisville Federation of Social Agencies back in 1917, when in that first year, we raised $108,000 from 5,500 people and invested it into 25 community organizations, to today, where we are one of the largest and highest performing Metro United Ways in the United Way network, with 50,000 donors, 300 Tocqueville Society members, who help us invest and change lives across the 7 counties that we serve in Kentucky and in Indiana. And in that 99 years, because this is really our 100th year, we have invested close to $1 billion, $1 billion with a B, to change the odds for individuals and families across our community. And many of you in this room, our Tocqueville members, have invested some of the largest dollars and made the biggest contributions to that. In fact, giving from our Tocqueville Society makes up nearly 25% of our annual campaign. So let's just give a huge round of applause to those Tocqueville members here today. Truly, you are critical to our success and impact. And with your support, we are changing lives. Just last year, we changed the lives of 120,000 people who are connected to services that they need through our 211 system. We changed the lives for 20,000 youth who had access to quality out-of-school time program. for 18,000 people who were provided with financial stability services. And we changed the odds for 3,000 children and individuals and families through our early childhood education work and our ages and stages work. The data is on our side, and the evidence and results are undeniable. Through our work as a community lead for early childhood education under the Cradle to Career Initiative, we have changed the conversation and the dialogue around the importance of early childhood education and the fact that we need to invest more in those earliest years, 0 to 5, if our children are going to have their best chance at living to their full potential. Children in our Excellence Academies and through some of the quality childcare programs that we invest in, they're 2 times more likely to start school ready for success. And that's a really important fact, because right now, only 48% of the kids in Jefferson County, 50% of the kids in Southern Indiana start kindergarten ready to learn. They're behind from day one. And what we know is if they're behind on that first day of kindergarten, they are likely to stay behind their entire life. 3rd grade, 8th grade, high school graduation, the jobs that they have, that marker, whether or not they're ready on day 1 of kindergarten, can set them on a path that is going to be very hard to change later in life. Annually, we have also helped bring $16 million back into this community through some of the tax preparation services that we provide to individuals. So while we know what works, the results are limited to the resources that we have, and the challenges are becoming increasingly more complex, more interconnected, and more deeply rooted. And so, our work, it must be more strategic, more connected, and more innovative. Consider this. There are 6,000 plus children considered homeless by JCPS. And many more in our school system are food insecure. So when that child's family shows up at the door of a shelter or a food pantry, they have an immediate need. And our community has phenomenal nonprofits, many of which we support, ready to assist them. However, too often, that's where the assistance stops. Despite the reality that that family could definitely benefit from the financial empowerment services that we provide in this community, we don't provide that warm handoff. There is no connection to them, to the other network of providers in this community that could assist and help them with all their needs. If that connection is made, it's really the exception and not the norm. And yet, an adult in that family, the siblings in that family, there are plenty of programs, whether we are supporting them right now or other community partners are supporting them, could definitely benefit. A loved one could benefit from the support to deal with diabetes, with asthma, with a heart condition, from health providers in our community. And if you don't think that those health conditions impact the results of the child, you're wrong. They do. If the child has asthma, their scores are down. Their attendance at school is down. If the parent has diabetes or other medical conditions, their child's ability to focus at home, to be able to get to school, to do all of the things that will set them up for success are impacted. And so the connection between the health space, the education space, all of the social services, I mean, it is so interconnected and linked. But we're not making those connections today, and we need to be. One's 100th year, I would imagine, is a time for imagination. So imagine with me. Imagine a community where wherever an individual or a family in need presents themselves, we connect them to a supportive network and a set of appropriate community resources that helps break the cycle of poverty. This is possible in our community. Multiple, yet separate, conversations are happening already in the health space with the Louisville Health Advisory Board, in the education spaces with the Cradle to Career work and initiatives, They're looking for solutions to create an integrated community data system that would collect and collate data from cross-sector providers in all of those areas, health, education, human services, to enable coordinated, comprehensive support to meet the full needs of individuals and families. With the right system, the right information at the right time, and the right workflows and supports, one organization assisting an individual can provide a warm handoff to another organization capable of meeting that individual or family's separate but interconnected needs. Now, Metro United Way, we have been at the table for many of these conversations, and it is increasingly clear that there is a need for an overarching organization to connect the dots between the parallel conversations in the education, health, and human service spaces. We must ensure that our community's limited resources are being put to the best use, and that they are really focused on delivering lasting, systemic change that we can provide for ourselves and those that we serve. Because none of the challenges facing individuals and our families are isolated. And so none of those solutions can be isolated. This is how we will achieve our vision of a community where all people, that's 100% of the people, achieve their fullest potential. So to make this happen, Metro United Way must lean into our unique value proposition and build upon the core strengths that we've developed over these last 100 years. Now, in the folders that you have at your table, there are a couple of pieces of material, and one of them outlines some of the core strengths and value proposition as we see them for Metro United Way, but I'm just gonna cover a couple of those. And I see our true value proposition as a catalyst for systemic change. At the root of our community's most pressing needs, we don't deliver point-in-time services, but we support those who do. And our support goes beyond the financial. We are incentivizing nonprofits in our community to adhere to proven standards of quality. We're incentivizing them to increase access for those who have the greatest need, and we're incentivizing them to work more collaboratively together. We also search out best practices. We are connected to over 1,200 United Ways across this country. United Ways serving communities like ours, who have challenges like ours. But those United Ways and those communities may be implementing different solutions, things that are working better than what we're doing here. And we need to be able to identify those, we need to be able to bring them to our community, adapt them for the local context, and then test and see whether or not they actually have similar results or better results here. And we need to share the things that are working really well in our community with those others as well. But we have the ability to do that, and we can do it better. We need to help leaders and organizations from all sectors work together. No one sector, and I mean no government agency, no nonprofit, no private sector company alone is going to be able to solve any of the problems before us. We really must work in concert. And that's where United Way has been working for the last 100 years, in connecting the dots between all of those different sectors, individuals, and players. And we must mobilize, as we do, thousands of people to get involved in this fight, in fighting for the education, the health, and the financial stability for every person in the 7 counties that we serve. Now, next week is a great example of mobilizing thousands of individuals. It is the mayor's Give a Day week of service. And as we have for the last several years, Metro United Way plays a backbone support to connecting volunteers with the nonprofits who need their volunteer hours and time. And that's just one of many ways that we play a behind-the-scenes role in making sure that our community helps one another, builds on what our neighbors need, and is there when they need us. We have many strengths as an organization. Fundraising and funder most often come to mind for many folks, but our greatest strength, it lies in our ability to unite people and resources to create solutions to our problems. And to do this well, we must further develop our ability to lead collective impact work. We must invest in our ability to analyze data and outcomes across the work that we support in this community, and to identify and seed innovations to our most pressing needs as a community. If you had a moment when you came in to look at some of the posters out there in the gallery, those are of some of the things that we have seen in other communities or in our community work has really validated powerful results, and we want to bring them here. We want to invest them and scale them in our community. But that takes resources. And so if you see anything on those slides, those again are things that we know, we've got the data and evidence to prove that they will make a difference in this community. But sometimes it takes a little bit of an incubation period, a test. And United Way can be that incubator. We can be the ones who seed and adapt some of these innovations for our community and then spin them out into other organizations in our community who could deliver them long term. We support over 65 nonprofits in our community that provide educational, financial stability, and health-related services, and we work to improve lives in our community every day. There is such power in our network, and even greater potential than we've realized to date. This is what drew me to this role at Metro United Way. I had the really fortunate opportunity to leave a job that I loved, working as the Chief of Performance and Technology for the city. And I did that to take a job that I thought I would love even more. And now, 99 days in, I can tell you it's going really well. Reserve the right to change, but so far, so good. But many of you heard a little bit of the details of my background and my resume from Stephen. And what I can tell you is that the disjointed career path that I've taken, there is a common thread through it. And the common thread is a passion to help others and to make a positive impact in this world, and to try to do that at greater scale with each role that I take. And that passion for helping others and service to community is deeply rooted in the values of my family. My ancestors immigrated to this country from Italy back at the turn of the century, and have served in every major war since World War I in the military since then. That's what took me to the Coast Guard, that service mindset. And while there, I had the ability and the opportunity to conduct humanitarian missions as I circumnavigated the globe on the first Coast Guard cutter to do so, to enforce UN sanctions against Iraq in 2001, pre-9/11, to serve as a sea marshal, one of the first post-9/11, actually on 9/12, and to quite literally save lives, to find and rescue lost children at sea, parents who had fallen overboard, lost boaters. But I will tell you that even with the range of that experience and that impact, I truly believe that my greatest impact is still ahead of me. And I believe that I will accomplish that through Metro United Way, with the guidance and the support of all of you in this room and many of the leaders and confidants that are not here today. The history and legacy of the last 100 years and the challenges confronting us demand nothing less than transformational change and impact going forward. Now, I'd like to take this moment to share a video with you that I think frames so well the importance of the work that we do and the power of it right now.
Problems. The ones most people don't have the stomach for. The ones nobody talks about at cocktail parties. The ones that can't be solved overnight. We go looking for them because someone needs us. If we don't, who will? We find every dollar we can to address them. But we are more than fundraisers. We are hand raisers, the game changers. The stop talking, start doing, band together and take on the impossible task masters. United, we address the challenges of kindergarten readiness in our community. United, we confront the obstacles that keep every student from graduating on time, ready for college, a career, and life. United, we stand up for children left behind, urging families to engage in their children's success. United, with our partners, we battle to ensure every individual has the food, shelter, health, and safety they need to achieve their full potential. United, we combat system inequities so all kids and families have every opportunity to succeed in life. No matter the obstacles, no matter the odds, we surround our community's most critical problems, and we fight. We fight for Andre and Dakari. We fight for Cam, Lily, Emma, and Vincent. We fight for Brandon, Mary, and Penelope. We fight for Myra. We fight for those who need a voice and those whose names we do not know. At Metro United Way, together we fight for the education, health, and financial stability of every person in Bullitt, Jefferson, Oldham, and Shelby counties in Kentucky, and Clark, Floyd, and Harrison counties in Indiana. Because change doesn't happen alone. Hope isn't a one-man band. And there's no such thing as self-taught or self-made. We have one life. To live better, we must live united.
I hope that video gives you the kind of goosebumps and chills that it gives me in terms of just the power of what we're doing, the scale of what we're doing in this community and the 7 different counties across this region. The next 100 years will bring challenges and opportunities that no one can predict right now. I just think about the last 10 or 15 years and the changes that we've seen. There is no way to know what 25 or 50 years from now will hold. But if history has taught us anything, it is that there will be complex challenges that we will face as a community, and that those challenges will require a diverse group of individuals, of organizations, and of institutions to unite together to be able to solve them. In this regard, Metro United Way is uniquely positioned today and must remain so in the future, so that we can help our communities identify those challenges and unite the right resources together to surround them and to solve them. We will not be solving early childhood education challenges 10, 20, 100 years from now, but there will be other challenges that we will surround and we will solve. And to guarantee our future relevance and impact, we must do a couple of different things. And this is also outlined in some of the materials in your packet, but we must continue to unite the effective organizations and individuals in our community around our most pressing needs. And we must look for the root causes of barriers to success, and that requires bridging the divide between areas of prosperity and poverty in our community. 1 in 7 in our community lives in poverty right now. We need to do better than that. And we must be able to validate that we're doing better. We must be able to look at the data and show our impact and our effectiveness in those areas. Where we are not, we must become the premier steward of our donors' dollars and our donors' intentions. And we must make it easier for individuals to give, to advocate, to volunteer where, when, and how they want to. We'll need to diversify some of our revenue streams. And I'm not going to get into a bunch of numbers and data there, but we really do need to look for ways to grow and expand outside of the workplace campaign so that individuals who aren't in a traditional workplace have a way to contribute. And we need to become the partner of choice for corporations with corporate social responsibility goals. We cannot just go to our companies one time a year and ask them and their employees for money. We need to be connected with them throughout the year, creating opportunities and values for them to connect with our community. And finally, we must invest in ourselves. We cannot create a great donor experience or accurately assess our community's outcome data without an investment in our technology. We cannot lead complex cross-sector systemic work without an investment in the skills and capabilities it will take to lead that work effectively. And we cannot successfully mitigate the impact of financial downturns and low annual campaigns if we do not grow a healthy endowment. This is why, in our 100th year, we are embarking on an ambitious 100th anniversary campaign. It targets not only an increase in our annual campaign, but also a capital raise that will support both our endowment and an upgrade fund. The total goal is $36 million. And that number just happens to be the number that we need to raise to reach $1 billion of investment in our community in 100 years. Now, if you're familiar with our annual campaigns, you will know that this number is about $10 or $11 million more than we normally raise. And so you will also then know why I am so thankful that Matt Thornton is our campaign chair this year. We are so lucky to have him in this role. In the months that I have come to know him, Matt is a phenomenal businessman with a real mind for details and for just getting things done. He has a clear competitive streak as well as a heart of gold. And Matt has not only embraced this challenge wholeheartedly, but he and his wife, Fran, have donated $1 million towards our 2017 campaign. Oh, that's worth a standing ovation right there. Come on. Matt has also already secured another $500,000 in new donations. So if we're looking at closing that $10 to $11 million gap, we're already down by $1.5 million. So it's a fantastic start. And I'm just so grateful and thankful for your leadership in this regard. So if you are a current Tocqueville donor with the ability to increase your gift this year, or to keep your gift where it is, and to make a one-time additional gift either into our endowment fund or into our upgrade fund, as we're calling it, to help us upgrade in the technology and the skills and capabilities that we need to enter this next 100 years as strong as possible, then please, this is the year to do it. If you are one of our guests here today, and this is the first time you've heard of the Tocqueville Society or learned about the broader vision for Metro United Way, please consider joining us. There are multiple ways in which you can enter into this Tocqueville group or also just support Metro United Way, and we would love to have you on this journey. And finally, if you're as proud as I am of the accomplishments of this organization over the last 100 years, and as excited about the next 100 years, then please save the date for November 11th, 2017, which will be our 100th anniversary gala. In our 100th year, it is a time to imagine. Imagine a community where the zip code you're born in does not determine your lifespan. Imagine a community where, from before a child is born, we have cared for the mother, welcomed that child into a stable family, helped him or her to begin to recognize their own unique abilities through quality early pre-K and schooling, where students explore through quality out-of-school time programming opportunities that unlock their full potential, and a community where our citizens have the skills to find the quality jobs that they need to support those stable families. We have in our communities the resources, the passion, and the skill to be able to transform that vision, that dream, into a reality. We have a network of organizations with passionate, capable, dedicated people, a network that many of you have funded, whether it's with your dollars or your time or your support. And what I want you to imagine with me is aligning that network into a seamless whole, one community united. So in closing, the future holds great promise and great need for Metro United Way. We have a strong foundation from which to build on and the potential to play an even greater role in uniting the resources in our community. As we turn 100, we must invest in ourselves to ensure our ability to continue to meet those needs, the needs of our donors who help us make this work possible, but also of those we serve. Thank you all.